Investing is gambling. It's literally a casino. That's what my Auntie Mandy told me at a family party. She said, I don't invest, Damien, because it's just gambling. Now, maybe I made that story up just to set up this video. Place your bets. But this idea that investing is just fancy gambling is something many people believe. And if I told you I was about to risk some money in the hope of getting more money, but there's a chance I could lose it, would I be describing investing or gambling? Does my auntie have a point? Let's find out. I'm going to draw a line. On one end we have investing, on the other outright gambling. Think Russian roulette, rolling dice, or waking up in Vegas with a tiger in the bathroom. What separates the two? That's what researchers explored in a paper called The Conceptual and Empirical Relationship Between Gambling, Investing and Speculation. Great research, terrible title. I'd have called it The Difference Between Dice, Deals and Dividends. They built a framework comparing the three: gambling, investing, and that middle ground, speculation. Let's start with the stake. Interestingly, 2 Australian companies are currently battling in court over the same name, Stake. One is an investing platform, the other a gambling site. The one Drake promotes to his young audience. The irony is perfect, because the word stake itself means money risked on an uncertain outcome. In gambling, your stake is at risk. The moment you play, you either win or lose it. In investing, you own an asset. The value might fluctuate, but it doesn't vanish instantly. Ownership separates investing from gambling. So where does speculation sit? To see that, let's rewind to 1929. Between 1927 and 1929, 20 million Americans bought shares during an era of extreme optimism. Many borrowed up to 90% of the cost of those shares, 10 times more than they could afford. When the crash came, lenders demanded repayment, forcing panic selling and a market collapse. That use of borrowed money, leverage, turned investing into speculation, because when you own 90% of what you own, it's not really yours. The risk of losing everything skyrockets. The same applies today in property investing or trading with debt. Leverage amplifies gains, but also losses. Ownership disappears and risk dominates. That's why gambling success is defined by moments: the next roll, the next goal, the next spin, while investing success is defined by time. The longer gamblers play, the more they lose. In the short term, investing and gambling can look similar, like a coin toss. Over the past 50 years, investing in the global stock market for a single day had roughly a 52% chance of profit, basically even odds. That's why people confuse the two, but the magic happens over time. Think of it like this: if we charted wins and losses over a day, gambling and investing look alike. Stretch that out over years, though, and they diverge completely. Let's talk about the Monte Carlo fallacy. In 1913, in the Monte Carlo casino, a roulette wheel landed on black 26 times in a row, odds of 1 in 66 million. Gamblers lost fortunes betting on red, convinced it was due. But probability doesn't care about what came before. Every spin resets the odds. Add the casino's 0, which tilts the game toward the house, and you've got a system mathematically designed for players to lose. This concept is expressed as expected value, the average outcome over time. In roulette, for every £1 wagered, the casino expects to keep between £2 and £8. It's rigged by design. Strategies like the martingale system doubling your bet after every loss, promise recovery, but they fail unless you have infinite money. Casinos cap bets for that reason. The house always wins. Investing flips this on its head. Instead of a negative expected value, investing done properly has a positive one. Over time, buying productive assets like companies, property, or global index funds produces income, dividends, and growth. When you invest, you're backing the smartest minds in the world to create value, and you own a slice of that success. Gambling is trying to beat them at a game they've already rigged in their favor. Speculation sits in between anything relying on short-term outcomes or market noise. Day trading, for example, removes the time advantage of long-term compounding. Around 90% of day traders lose money, proving how speculative it is. Now let's talk about economic utility, the value created or destroyed by an activity. Gambling is a zero-sum game. For one person to win, another must lose. Investing is a positive-sum game. It builds value, funds businesses, creates jobs, and grows economies. Take Bet365, one of the UK's biggest gambling companies. Its success has benefited the local economy in Stoke-on-Trent, but 1 mile away sits the West Midlands Gambling Harms Clinic. About 1 million people in the UK have a gambling problem. 18% of online gamblers are in debt, roughly £10,000 on average, and 55,000 children between ages 11 and 16 are classed as problem gamblers. Even worse, 60% of gambling profits come from just 5% of users, the ones most addicted. Meanwhile, long-term investing channels money into productive use. It's how capital supports innovation. When you invest globally, you share in the profits of businesses like Apple or Toyota, and that wealth comes back into your own economy. When the company wins, you win. With gambling, the company only wins when you lose. That brings us to incentives. When you invest with someone like Vanguard, they earn a small percentage based on how much money you hold with them. They profit when you grow. Contrast that with platforms like CFD or copy trading networks that make money on frequent trades. They benefit when you lose or trade excessively. Always ask, what are their incentives? Finally, advertising. In 2019, the gambling industry introduced a whistle a ban on TV ads during football matches, supposedly to reduce exposure, especially for kids. Yet analysis from 2024 showed the opposite. During the opening weekend of the Premier League, viewers saw over 6,000 gambling ads, about 1 every 2 seconds. Gambling marketing exploded after the 2005 Gambling Act, which, coincidentally, was supported by political donations from Bet365's founders the year before. These ads promise control, cash out, you're in control, and imply frequent wins. But in truth, people who actually win consistently are banned or limited. In gambling, success makes you a problem customer. So next time you're out, count how many gambling ads you see versus investing ads. If I talk about investing, I need disclaimers and risk warnings, but gambling ads, they flash a tiny 18+ logo in the corner. The more aggressively something is advertised, the more likely it's risky or gambling. 2/3 of UK adults gamble at least once a month, yet only a quarter invest in shares. Gambling extracts value, investing builds it. So here's the irony. If you don't invest, you're actually taking the biggest gamble with your future. And as for my Auntie Mandy, if you bet she wasn't real, you just lost, because remember, the house always wins.